Hello, all my friends out here in YouTube land. This is a brand new channel that I am expanding on, and it's a lot more in depth. It does deal with food, Mediterranean lifestyle, but also deals with a lot of things on a biblical term, a lot of things that has helped me. And so I figured I would go ahead and reach out to through YouTube and see if any of my journey, my experiences, or my walk can help you. I'll start out by saying that I have literally struggled with food in a sense that I have tried every diet there was, to the point, seriously y'all, I screwed up my metabolism so badly that I didn't think it was ever going to get straightened out. My blood work was off the charts in every which direction possible, not knowing which way to go. There really isn't any good guidance as to where we should be, what we should do, how do we do this? Let's face it, we live in a supersized world. We live in a world where we go out to eat and they ask you what size portion do you want? Small, medium, large, or supersized? When should that even be an issue? Number one. Number two, we have plates that are much, much bigger than we should possibly be eating. We have food so filled with sugars to keep us craving more. Y'all, I am not a nutritionist. I am not a doctor. I'm going based by experience, the things that I'm seeing, and it is making me really think twice. I literally got to the point, since I've tried just about everything there was, I went right back to where maybe we should be. And this is the reason why I'm going to express on this channel. This channel is based on the Mediterranean lifestyle in the fact of the biblical sense that I do trust God. And through trusting God, it is where this channel has come out, because these are the things that I have learned through it. The things that are silent, nobody talks about. It's possibly ways that has healed me in ways I never knew it could. And it doesn't consist of a pill. It doesn't have an injection. It's just having time with me, my Bible, and learning how to do things right. So, if this is what you're looking for, then this channel will be for you. We will have some sit-down conversations like this, which I love to call coffee time, tea time moments. We will have some recipes using whole foods as much as we possibly can, but we also know we live in a world that whole foods are prosperous, but we can't shy away completely away from processed. But we can eliminate at least 85%. And I'm going to show you how. It is these foods that is what's creating what I'm finding for me, which has created a lot of my troubles. I am proud to say that I put this to the test, because here's my reality, y'all. Before this channel ever existed, I had to actually try God. So I did. And the reason why I end up trying God is because, well, one day eating potato chips, let's be real, I was eating chips. Now I lead a Mediterranean lifestyle, but I started veering off. And while I was eating my chips, there was a verse that I was reading in my Bible as I was eating and reading, and that verse came out too. Period. Whatever you put in your mouth, whether you eat or drink, does it glorify God? And it should glorify God. Can I tell y'all, that moment that I looked at that potato chip, I stopped eating it. It is at this point I realized that God was going to hold me accountable, because He had something for me. He had something for me to do. I went on a journey of shutting down all my electronics so I could learn how I could listen to the God who loves me more than anything. He's helped me through so many things in my life. I survived things I shouldn't have survived, including cancer and honestly being shot. I should not have survived these things and still be here to talk to you. But God has a plan and a purpose for me. And in Jeremiah 29:11, he told me that. So here I am. So I took and started reading more into my Bible. Words are very powerful, y'all. Very powerful. Matter of fact, the entire Holy Bible was based by word only. There really wasn't any laying of hands. It's by word. Word is life. It brings life or death. Word is powerful, and because of the tongue, it's the one thing that is unbridled. It can't be bridled, but we can choose how we use it. I chose to try to get a new direction in what I ate because I felt something was wrong. Something was different. The foods that I was eating wasn't really glorifying God. It was satisfying my own craving, which a craving that maybe it wasn't just about me. Maybe it was the way the food was made. It was made to make us crave. I was like, something that could be possible. Since then, y'all, I have lost 6 pounds very slowly. And I'm so happy for that. I don't care if it's slow. Slow is better than fast. I did the slow carb, y'all. I messed my body up. Within 6 months, I lost over 100 pounds. And I'm going to tell you, I got down so low, I literally had to stop because it was almost 60 pounds is what it was. I had to stop because I was getting way less than what I should be at almost 6 foot tall. But I gained it just as fast as I lost it when I stopped. And I knew something was wrong. I couldn't get my metabolisms to straighten out since then. And it had frustrated me. I just kept gaining and gaining. I couldn't get a balance. I couldn't get nothing up until recently. And the recently was I had to learn to literally learn how to eat the biblical way. Now it's really not that hard. The biblical way sounds like it's hard, but it's really not. It's actually just whole foods. Some would say that I'm fixing to come into your table and sit at your table and yank away your macaroni and cheese. Nope. I will show you how to eat it in a healthier manner, though, instead of a box. It would consist of working it homemade. A lot of our foods are homemade. I am working with the original leavening in the bread. It is not commercial yeast. That was never in effect. As a matter of fact, commercial yeast has very little nutrients. Its only basic reason to be existent is it's a fast rise, and you can literally make bread within 6 hours in a day, maybe even 4 hours. Sourdough takes almost 2 days to make a loaf of bread. But can I tell you, since I started using a lot more sourdough, my heartburn has disappeared. I'm able to digest food, and literally I'm getting more nutrients and vitamins from this way. I also, as you see in this corner here, I mill my own flour. I don't buy enriched flour. There is nothing in that flour for any of us that is any good. I mill my own flour, mix it with my sourdough. I do have a company that I order from called Azure Standard, and it's a Christian-based organic store. It is known across the entire United States. It is based out of Utah. A lovely company, and I absolutely love them. They're a bulk food store with all organics. The one thing that caught my eye this past week in my point of sitting down learning more from God was we go back to the word comfort foods. I have done this. I've done this I don't know how long. We just absolutely love fall and winter because we start getting into what we call our comfort foods. When we think of comfort foods, we think of this warm but fuzzy blanket, nice warm heat even by a fire. How about a nice chocolate cake? Just anything that would just consist of comfort to make us feel warm and fuzzy inside. However, this could be extremely dangerous. If you're living in a situation in your life where maybe there's some forgiveness that needs to be done, you're holding a lot of pain in your heart. Maybe there's something that you've been through that you just don't know how to deal with it. So we turn to food for the comfort instead of our comforter. Jesus many, many times in the Bible said to come unto me, all those who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. In 1 Peter 5:7, he says to cast all your cares upon him. And in Matthew 28:20, he tells us to come to him whenever we feel like the world is just shutting on us and we have nowhere else to go for our comfort. Going to the Lord is far better than craving food that's not going to do anything for us. Because let's face the facts, we're looking at, and this was me, I was pre-diabetic, I was getting obese. Oh, Lord have mercy. I was just using food all in the wrong way. I didn't even know right from wrong, honestly, y'all, and what portion I should be eating. I was eating to the point my gut was literally telling, for the love of God, please stop feeding me. I would hurt. Heartburn so bad I couldn't sleep. Then I was extremely uncomfortable because when I was through with my meals, I would then pretty much produce another meal by snacking. And I would do this till late at night. So many aspects of what it could do to our bodies. And this channel is going to open up a huge broadband. Y'all, I'm not going to be able to put it all in one video. So I will be breaking this up in segments because this is bigger than any of us had ever realized. So I'm just talking in just basic, simple things as you get an idea what this channel is going to be like. I had to learn to know that when I feel bad, I don't run to my freezer and grab my thing of ice cream, sit down and eat it. This is wrong. This is not what's going to help me. As a matter of fact, this is what's going to harm me. I'm filling my body with sugar. Maybe I have a comfort for just that moment, but my problem is still there because I have a rooted structure sitting here that needs attending to. And I love this preacher that we had at church one day. He expressed the fact is we have this structure. We have this problem that's sitting here. And instead of dealing with this problem, we branch off to different symptoms, such as, now I have this problem, I don't want to deal with it, so I'm going to go eat whatever I feel like, whether it be ice cream, potato chips, and I'm going to comfort my spirit, I'm going to comfort my pain, I'm going to comfort everything at this very moment and make myself feel good. Now I created a symptom from this by creating the fact is now I'm becoming obese, pre-diabetic. Well, now here's another symptom. The fact here is, am I working towards heart disease? Now I have diabetes. Now I need a medication for this. And we stem to a point of out of control chaos in our life. And still we have no order. We're losing control. Because what we never did was start right here at that source. And that source said, you needed to deal with me. Was there unforgiveness somewhere here that maybe you should have done? Is there something to know that maybe the situation wasn't our fault, but yet we're taking something that isn't ours? Do we need to just come to the Lord and say, help me to be able to not take this? Eliminating all of our symptoms, pulling off the Band-Aids and going back to the source may help us a lot in where we want to be in goals in our life. So many of us say that we want to be able to get our blood pressure under control. Maybe we need to get our diabetes under control. Maybe we need this or that. What do we need to do? Is it as simple as maybe we need to make better choices in life? And really, instead of looking at food as comfort and relying it totally on God to comfort us, and allowing our food to be as it intended to be for fuel and nutrients only. And that's where I'm at today. I'm learning to portion my food. It's okay to snack, but I'm trying to choose better portions and snack, and I'm learning to cut my time off at a certain point so that my stomach can digest everything and not engorge it so much it has no room for digestion. And instead, it just backfires in a way that you're not going to sleep. I've been through all of this, and honestly, it's been up until recently, all of this came into revelation, and here I am with you. I have so many beautiful recipes that I'm going to look into Whole Foods with. Some may be dealing with food that is processed, but not very much, y'all. Some things we just can't get away from. Other foods is, most of it would be maybe sugar substitute, which is another one of those processed, because I do have a diabetic husband. And see, this is these stems that we've had to deal with now because of maybe what we had started from when the Lord said, did what we eat or drink glorify Him? No, it comforted us. So now we deal with these symptoms, and now we're going back to the stem of it. And that stem of it usually came to a problem we just wanted to cover up. And today, I'm not covering it up. I pulled all the Band-Aids off of my life as hard as it was. I turned to my Bible and I turned to prayer and asking God to help me. And in return, I am here expanding off to my original YouTube channel. I have two. I have so many recipes on it. There were some when I started the low carb and ended up getting off of it and went to Mediterranean. I have so many different recipes on that channel, and that was Parton's Mediterranean Homestead. I'm still going to keep that channel. This channel, however, is more in-depth as it talks about the Bible, Jesus Christ, and way it was in life for them to us now. It is a very interesting aspect, y'all. Back then, they only needed 6 hours sleep and they were energized. Back then, their food was so wholesome that they lived to over 900 something years old. Then versus now, a lot would say, well, yeah, times have changed. Of course, yes, I highly agree. Times have changed. Things are a bit easier. But does that mean it's always good for us? And that answer would be not necessarily. Look, a box of macaroni and cheese versus a homemade version is not, to me, for me, was not a good option. What I have learned, there are two different types of pastas. One is imported from Italy, slightly higher, but not much higher than what you would get at Walmart's regular grocery store. You have a very shiny finish pasta. You might get that pasta for 98 cents or maybe $1. What you're going to get from that is enriched flour and a bunch of other ingredients that you probably can't even pronounce. Versus a dull version imported from Italy, maybe you're going to pay $1.27 for it. I recently found that same pasta in elbow macaroni at Kroger's $3, $4, $5 for 3 pounds total. They were a pound a piece. What was the ingredients? 3 versus 10. Durum wheat, salt, and water. That is it. That is what you want to look for in your pasta. You do not want to look for anything shiny or anything that mentions enriched anything. It may say whole flour. Be careful, because whole flour can also be enriched. The difference between those type of shiny flours versus even this, what I have right here in my fresh milled, fibers removed, bran is removed, anything essential was removed. There was only 4 nutrients replaced synthetically. It's not even naturally. One of my wheat berries has 44 nutrients and vitamins. The moment I crack it in that mill, I have literally 2 hours to use that flour before I start losing my nutrients and vitamins, unless I freeze it and hold it in place. Hang on a minute, y'all. While I was sitting here talking to you, I just realized that I did just fresh mill some flour, because I am fixing to make an apple sourdough cake, eliminating granulated sugar, using sugar substitute, and using sourdough discard. I may be making a video for that for you too, while I'm going ahead and doing this. But let me readjust this. Alright, so basically what I'm getting to, this will be an introduction video to give you somewhat bits and pieces of what this channel is going to be like. And if you're a Christian or not, it doesn't matter. If you're looking for ways that maybe be able to calm and bring peace to your soul. Another thing I've learned, I've always heard never go to bed angry, and I totally get what that means. You just lose all peace inside of you and you just can't sleep. But there is another aspect that I found myself I was doing. Literally before bed, I have to wind down, were my words. I have to wind down. And what I wound down doing was going all over Facebook. It was creating these mixed emotions in me, sometimes anger, sometimes sadness, sometimes depression, sometimes peace, sometimes gladness. It was a roller coaster. And I found that I was staying on the phone longer than I should, losing precious sleep that I could use. And then throughout my day, honestly, I just didn't want to do anything the next day because I was too tired. I also found that I was losing my peace and my sleep because the emotional roller coaster was just keeping me unrested. So I put my phone down at night. I turn out the light and I'm done. It is an adjustment for me because I have done this for so long. It became a pattern and a habit. Instead, I pray before I sleep. I've never done that. And can I tell you, I've had the most peaceful rest that I have had in I don't know how long. And it's almost to the point I have so much peace I don't know what to do with myself because I have been so used to chaos all my life that peace seems foreign to me. So it's an adjustment. I don't have these stomach issues that I had from overeating anymore, or indulging where I don't need to indulge. Just so much, y'all, and I have some amazing Mediterranean food. Now, why do I speak Mediterranean? Before you understand, when I talked about diets, Mediterranean, y'all, is not a diet. It's been labeled a diet. It is absolutely not a diet. And I'm going to explain that in simple terms. I'm going to turn back to the book of Genesis. When God created the heaven and earth, He spoke words. And in speaking words, He created trees, fruit, vegetables, fish, animals, light, darkness. He created everything to the point that He created us. He created every organ in our body, every blood, every gene, everything He created. He knew exactly what we needed. And here's the part that I thought was interesting. We talk about biblical times and how things have changed. What we never concept is the fact that God created us. He created everything. When He created us, He knew exactly what our bodies needed to succeed, to prosper, to have longevity, to have healthy lifestyle. He knew what we needed. As we progressed in life and man-made things started coming around, convenience started becoming more openly, doctors began to be informed, pharmaceutical medications started to be made, we started losing track, going into the convenience of the world and forgetting what we were made for in the first place. Whole foods. Fruit, vegetables, poultry, fish, beef. Some at that point were sheep, goats, things that were good. Now there were foods that were forbidden to eat. Now some will argue when Jesus came into this world that the New Testament canceled that. It's not necessarily true. Jesus now at this point said there was really nothing unclean. However, He did not change that rule. Basically what He was saying is sometimes what we put in our mouth is not as unclean as what comes out of our mouth. Never once did He ever say that this law should be changed. It comes down to it, the reason that was placed for us, like no pork, is because if you look at the true aspect of what pork is, you would understand why it's not good for us. You really literally have to cook it at a certain temp, or you would see some unsightly things that you don't want to see. Our seafood absorbs like a sponge into its shell. What it absorbs also goes to the meat. The same with pork. When a pig eats, and they're scavengers, what they produce or fill in their mouth goes straight to the fat. And let's face it, when you make a pulled pork sandwich, y'all, that fat that drips in there, that is what's used to make that juicy flavor. But everything that pork ate, unless you know for a fact that it was farm fresh, because the wild is going to eat whatever it eats. Unless you know it's farm fresh, y'all, it's going to be within that fat of that meat. So we have to be careful what we eat. And so it wasn't just to say you are restricted, you can't have this. Health reasons, God knew what he was doing, and I trust him. Does that mean I don't eat shrimp? Nope, I do. But I use it very sparingly anymore. Occasionally I will eat pork, but again, very sparingly. It's enough to just tantalize a craving and let it go. Could I absolutely be done with it? Yes. I actually like fish. I love different types of fish. I don't really have to have shrimp. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to either, because these are not my choices. These are yours. But I'm just bringing an aspect of what was argued and what the true facts are. When God created us, he created us to have whole foods. And if you look at 95% of our foods today, you will see a sign at the bottom of most of your food that said this is a bioengineered product. Where did that ever come about? And that's terrifying to see in itself. Never once was our body created to have yellow dye number 5, yellow dye number 6. How about red dye this, red dye that? How about words we can't even think of saying, let alone MSG or monosodium glutamate? Now we got xanthan gum, and we've got gar gum, and where did all this come from? God kept things simple. A garden is the most amazing thing any of us could have. It's about as wholesome, whole food as possible. And a lot of our farmer fields have been destroyed too from its nutrients, because there's so many chemicals being used in it to mass produce. And even our vegetables at the grocery store are really not full of nutrients anymore, because they're being picked way too early. What can we do to improve our own health? What can we do to make life better for us? Maybe is there something that we can do to help, even if it's just a little bit, improve our health to a point of we can do something good for us? This is not saying that this is going to be a cure-all channel, because that is far from the truth. There are things that just happen, y'all. What I'm looking at is just being able to do what we can do for ourselves, learn how to eat the food that we have, maybe in a better manner, and understand what we're doing and how we're replacing in areas we shouldn't be replacing. Maybe there is a reason we couldn't lose weight because we're using our food all in the wrong way. Why did God lead me into this calling of food? Your guess is as good as mine, but here I am. Maybe it's the silent thing nobody talks about. Maybe it's the silent that nobody wants to talk about because it might benefit somebody else, like pharmaceutical companies. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I just know that we have foods that we shouldn't be consuming. So is there a better way? Yes. And I'm learning that. And that's why I'm here to share that with you. We will learn about the Bible, we will speak about God, and we will learn what he intended for us. And then we're going to learn, when we step into a kitchen, how to prepare the most amazing meal, from holidays to non-holidays, to now we are going to replace comfort food with hearty food. We're going to learn the portion controls. I have One of the best things I ever invested in is a scale. I use the scale a lot because I use it for my sourdough. Sourdough has been the best amazing thing I've ever used with the fermentation because I'm able to digest food a whole lot better, and can I tell you, it makes me feel a whole lot lighter. So I've also learned through the Mediterranean, the true Mediterranean, not the one that the American pages have decided to incorporate. I went literally to the sources of the Mediterranean and got the proper amount, what it takes even for pasta. And I was blown away to learn this. To look at it in the American aspect, and on the box, it will starve you to death. It wasn't made for you to actually be content, because honestly it will cost you to do more. And so I have the proper amount, and I will be sharing all of this on this channel. Today is an introduction, y'all, and I hope that you see where my heart is for everyone. It is not just for me. I know that I am not the only one out here that has struggled with so many things in life and used food to cover it up. I know I'm not the only one. I know that this is a calling in my life, as strange as it is. It's surrounded me so much around food, I don't quite understand, but it's a passion. And I'm learning for once in my life how to properly use it. I am actually tasting flavors I never not thought existed. I'm going from the craving from the sugar to literally, I have never thought I would ever do this. My body craves vegetables. It now craves fruit. This is amazing versus candy and sugar. I have removed a good portion of this using whole foods. The original sugars in the Bible literally was not granulated sugar, y'all. It wasn't even cane sugar. It was honey, dates, and these were even used very sparingly. It was not in abundance. It was just used to slightly tantalize your tongue into sweetness, and that was it. That blew me away, because look, we are taught that everything we taste. Okay, here's an example. Have any of you just bought a cake from Walmart and tasted the frosting? Oh, that's a lot of sugar. And so this is what we are used to, over excessive amounts. Can you imagine if you're not diabetic? And my husband is my example. He is a diabetic. If this would spike his sugar, what is it doing for me who is not a diabetic? Seriously. I really got to thinking about that. How did he become a diabetic in the first place? So, I am learning to use whole foods. But again, not everything is going to be whole foods on this channel, because some things we just can't avoid. We're just going to avoid as much as we can. And I'm going to teach you to watch. Here's an example on this one. We're going to watch for when the enemy sneaks itself in its corner, a little bit here and a little bit there. The best places to shop in the grocery store is the outer preference of it, where you have your fruits, your vegetables, your whole cheeses, your milks, your meats. But be careful, because amongst that is also things that are tricky. The best way to shop for cheese is by the block or these slices. Be very careful with the cheese that is pre-grated. It has got a coating on it. And one disturbing thing I found in the coating, and I literally looked these up piece by piece to learn what was in it, and one of it had to deal with eye medication that was to treat bacteria in eyes. I was blown away. It has a coating to preserve it. And a lot of times this cheese, over time, as it gets old, it starts to crumble. It really does not melt very well either. And I have found that if I took the block and just grated it myself, it melts so much easier. That is just one. The other thing is all these different milks and all these different creamers. Just be careful, because even that's on the outer exterior. And your best friend is going to be reading your labels. Just to tell you, if there's anything homemade you can do, by all rights do so. If it tastes super, super, oh my goodness for you, maybe you need to reevaluate what's in it. Because Whole Foods, I am finding out, sometimes it slap your mama good, but it tastes so much different. I can't even describe the natural flavors that it is and that flavoring. I make a beautiful garlic and parmesan or pecorino white beans. It consists of simple ingredients of pecorino Murano or pecorino like or parmesano cheese. It has garlic, fresh garlic in it. It has sliced tomatoes in it. It has cannellini beans, which you can use from a can, rinse it off. It has olive oil, and it is the most amazing, and you can add water, or I add chicken broth to it. These beans are, oh my goodness, I don't particularly like beans, but I've learned to eat beans like these, and they are great for fiber, which our bodies absolutely need that, especially if you're a diabetic. Fiber breaks down carbs, it breaks down sugar, and it causes your body to break down faster, therefore suppressing sugar spikes. These are necessary things in our life, so why not make it taste good? So with that, y'all, these are the examples of what this channel is going to be. If you happen to like what you're hearing, if you happen to know which direction and feel that you want to anticipate more about this channel, hit that like button, subscribe if you feel like this is for you, and I would gladly love to take this journey with you. Until next time, my name is Carrie, and this channel is The Bread of Life. And as Jesus spoke to me, he said to feed my sheep, but not by bread alone. And in this channel is what I intend to do. God bless you, and much, much love from The Bread of Life. Thank you.